Hey guys, I'm here with
Mike LiPetri, former New York State Assemblyman, attorney, and Republican nominee for Congress in New York 3 in Nassau County, Suffolk County, Northeast Queens.
You're gonna write that at the bottom of an email, right? That's like my email list, right? So we just had a great podcast, not a long one, nice, short, to the point. Got over a lot of topics, and hope you guys have a listen. So, tell me a little bit about what's going on in your life right now.
Honestly, man, it's a dream because we had the opportunity. Think about it. I'm 33 years old. I'm a former New York State Assemblyman. I'm an attorney. And now I'm the Republican nominee for Congress in New York 3 on Long Island.
How long were you Assemblyman, by the way?
I was Assemblyman for 2 years, and we crushed it. And
Right.
what happened was I ran for Congress because Pete King, who was there for 28 years,
Right.
he was in this seat forever.
Right.
And so that seat opens up, and I'm like, what we've done for helping veterans, for law enforcement, for trades, for law-abiding citizens, for keeping affordability in young families here on Long Island. I mean, I was like, I got to run for Congress, take this shot now because I don't know when I'm ever going to have the shot again.
Right.
I think life, and like, Ryan, let me ask you about this. Life is all about opportunities, right? And more importantly than anything is seizing them.
Right.
So many people, I think there's nothing worse than having the graveyard of wasted talent where people that never pursued something because they either let the opportunity fly by
Right.
or they were too scared
Right.
to take it. And for me, it's about taking the bull by the horns. Quite literally, by the way. I did that last year when I ran with the Bulls in Pamplona. But that's a different story. That's a different
Took
story.
the bull right by the horn. Okay.
But truthfully,
I always say
yeah.
jump and grow your wings on the way down.
See?
It's
That's
like
exactly
the
it.
best way to put it. Yeah.
That is the best way to put
People
it.
ask me all the time, especially the kids with the charity. When should I do this? When should I do that? Do it now.
Do it now.
There's no time like the present.
Yeah, how's that been going with the charity, with the kids and all?
It's going great. So like right now we have about 50 kids we're mentoring,
It's awesome.
which is another reason why I have you on here because I know you could be very influential with the things we may need down the line, which we've already talked about.
Yep.
Getting our curriculum that we've established into, I would like it to be into every high school across
Gotta be.
Long Island. And like I said, it's not like we're asking for much. We're just trying to get the curriculum in, which plants the seed of all the alternatives that are available for kids, not just the typical college route.
Right. Well, that's about ingratiating the alternative.
Right.
And ingratiating my opinion, too,
Right.
frankly, that pathway. What's better than telling kids right out of high school, we're giving you income as opposed to debt? Right?
No one talks about it, though.
No one talks about
Yeah.
it. And that's the biggest problem. I know when we were in the state assembly, we were pushing that big time
Yeah.
with focusing on the trades and skills and allowing people to develop themselves, especially now after the pandemic.
Yeah, well, once again, people correlate the trades with being dirty and working hard and working long hours, and that's not necessarily the case. We are geared towards trades, but with trades, there's industry. And even like the other day, I was in a deli and I ran into a police officer out in Aquabog, and I asked him, he came up to me in a deli, say hello. He actually said hello to me. I get along with all the police officers. Love those guys. So if he's listening, hello. He came up to me and I asked him, I said, do you guys need college credits for kids to get onto your force? And he said, no, absolutely not. So I ran out to the truck and I gave him one of our flyers. So hopefully he'll follow along with that. But I know Suffolk County Police Department as well doesn't require college credit. But this should be talked about more to kids in high school because now you're creating a pool of kids that important jobs like that can kind of pull from,
And we need it now more than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of skills gap. I was reading some information about post 2021, how millions of older aged adults retired, and as a result of that, left that void.
Yeah.
Within many just different
What's it,
sectors.
5-1, 5-2?
I can't give you the precise numbers
Yeah.
on it. I just remember reading that, and I was like, multiple millions of people retiring.
Right.
And then my generation, the bigger issue is we're not having as many kids as our parents and grandparents did
Right.
because the cost of living's too much. And
I
burdened
didn't think about that until you brought it up the other night at the fundraiser.
about having children.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
It makes total sense.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what's happening is you're not having the kids to fill in now these jobs and these industries and these businesses, et cetera. And so as a result of that, you're seeing more of an older age population of the United States. And how's that going to affect us? Not 5 years from now, but 10, 20, definitely 30 years from now,
Right.
you're going to see a huge effect on that.
And it's not like daycare is not expensive for people who have good jobs. Because yesterday I was talking to Rich Hoffman, our weather guy.
Okay.
And I was doing an estimate at his house, and he has 2 young kids, and he was saying that, daycare is really expensive. And,
So
he's
expensive.
a successful guy. He makes good money, I'm sure.
Yep.
But it hits everybody. And there's really, it's like you said, like the people who work the hardest kind of get punished the most because the more you make, the more you're given, and then other people are taking advantage of that.
And that's the essence of my campaign, is just rewarding law-abiding citizens who follow the rules and penalizing criminals that don't. Very simple. It's common sense that we're pushing.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to focus in on those. And for your listeners and viewers, specifically, spoiler alert, my position is going to be about incentivizing the nuclear family of men and women who are married, have children, etc. Why is it so hard to have kids? So I want tax deductions for on baby formula, on daycare, on toys, on food, on diapers, all that. That's
Right.
going to incentivize you to have kids, and you could have more kids because more money's going back into your pockets
Right.
for your family. That's what I want to see. Instead of this government just taxing you to oblivion
Yeah.
and then shipping your money abroad, instead you're focusing on right here, right on Long Island, at our home.
Right, and the people who are contributing to society are going to get those tax breaks.
Exactly.
That's
And
great.
you know what? That's what we're rewarding. We're not penalizing people that aren't working. We're just simply saying you don't get these benefits because if you're paying taxes and that you have that income that's paying taxes, you're going to get those benefits that reward you. So that's what I want to see.
Our charity starts that conversation more or less because in 9th grade, when these kids come in, we do have some 9th grade kids, and we start the discussion of there are no free handouts. That needs to be instilled into them that there are no free handouts. Like there's no guarantee that, like you said, like most kids, I don't want to say, and I always, it's a slippery slope here. College is not bad. You went to college, you became an attorney.
Yeah.
Obviously, college was good for you. That was your.
If you use it.
That was your path. So how long did you use being an attorney?
No, I'm still an attorney,
Yeah,
so I'm still using it. But my point is that then you have the person, like I've seen videos, other people see videos on Instagram. It's my favorite.
Right.
You see NYU grads coming out and they with their made up majors of whatever it is,
Right.
and then a year later they're working at a job that didn't even require a college degree,
Right.
But yet there's in debt $250,000 plus, probably
Right.
like 300 with NYU and whatnot,
Right.
300-400 grand in debt. So what was the point? Like now you're in the hole, 300-400,000. Good luck paying that back for decades.
Right.
And then, by the way, these are the ones that are just championing free, having their college paid for and cancel student loans.
Right.
And having people like you and me pay for them because they made bad decisions.
But why do you think the colleges and the high schools push so much for kids as soon as they get out of 12th grade, go right to college?
For the
'Cause,
money.
well, they don't give them any time to think
They want 18,
about what they want to do, and
of
that's
course
the
not.
easiest. I think the easiest closing rate, right? Because if you look at it as a business, as
Killed
marketing,
it. They kill it.
they're marketing to kids from kindergarten to 12th grade. Not only, they're soliciting whatever, they have things in schools, but every single teacher, almost, not all teachers agree on this, kind of say that you should really go to college first.
Go to college.
Go to college. The biggest, most common thing that I'm told from kids is I was told to go to college and figure it out.
Yep. How terrible advice is that?
How are you going to figure it out while you're acquiring $20,000 to, depending on how many school, to $50,000 a year in debt?
Right. That's the biggest, my issue. I wanted to flip the script. I wanted to have it where instead, when people don't know what they're doing 18 years old, go work.
Right.
Go to work and figure out, because college, what's the big deal? If you start at 18 versus 22.
Right.
Take those 4 years and figure it out for yourself. Take 2 years. Take one.
100%.
However much you need. Like my attitude is, it doesn't matter when you start. It's all about how you finish.
Right.
And that's what's just so important for me. But you're totally right about that. And as a result of it, that's why you've seen college tuition skyrocket since the 1980s.
Disney does the same thing, right?
Oh,
if
please.
attendance is up, price goes up.
That's it.
Attendance drops, then we'll drop a little bit and find a happy medium.
But the
it's a
difference,
business. Yeah.
But the difference is for the colleges is they have the student loans that are being issued through the federal government. And
Yes.
therefore, when you default on your loan, the federal government, we taxpayers, still pay for it.
Right.
That's what's wrong with the system. Is if you go into this where you're actually focusing on, hey, if these loans if this doesn't work out, I'm still on the hook for these loans, and I have to pay back them, and it's not. And then these colleges know that if these kids don't get reward out of it and they don't pay us back, we're in trouble. See, right now the colleges get to rely on the federal government that they know they're just going to take care of it no matter what.
Right.
We taxpayers.
Their money's guaranteed.
That's exactly. And as a result of that, that's why they jack it up instead of 20 grand a year. That's why it's 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year, because they know that people are going to come just for the name, etc.
You know, that's exactly like I correlated to restoration companies, because restoration companies deal with insurance companies. And people pay insurance and are insured up to a certain extent, and it's all formula. So when they get a job, there's a formula. They know exactly how much they're going to make, and that job closes 10 times easier than for me to go to Mrs. Smith and do a job, and that money has to come out of her pocket.
Because it's not a first-party negotiation. The third-party negotiations where people are just like, you guys figure it out. I'm already
covered.
prepaid. Yep.
I'm covered. Whatever it costs, I don't care. Give me the best of the best.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So the difference is with lease restoration, you have a nice home that's fixed, as opposed to college now. You got a piece of paper, but so what?
Right.
At the end of the day, you guys still earn that money.
Right.
You guys still make that money. And that's the messaging to the kids, where you're saying nothing's guaranteed and you got to work for it.
Right.
And you got to push in the time and effort, make the right choices, talk to the right people. And you know what I've learned is we have a huge skills gap within the Gen Z generation, even millennial generation as well, is you're seeing there's a big void with interpersonal skills specifically and listening skills. I found that so interesting. Have you seen that? Have you heard that at all?
Yeah, you have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason.
And I think
Right?
too many people.
Yeah.
Too many people, politicians included. I see it
Yeah.
all the time in politics. A lot of people like to talk, but for me, it was always being with the boots on the ground, the guys and gals that are in the business, in the industry, learning from them, talking from them. What are your problems? What are your issues? How do we find these solutions? As opposed to me coming in and saying, oh, this is how it's going to be. No. We focus on organic, bottom-up solutions, not this top-down government control that my opponent likes to push forward.
Well, we start every meeting in my company the same way.
Got it.
I always start off, I never talk for, well, I'll talk first just to open the meeting, but I always say, you know, what can we do better to help you guys? What needs to change to help you guys?
That's it.
And sometimes they talk and sometimes they don't, and then I have to talk, but I try to give them that because I rather do what they need. Same thing in politics.
How many people, let me ask you, in your business industry, what you've seen, how many people actually love what they do? Because I
we were
think
just having this conversation, Frank. So I think that we live in a world where everyone likes to complain lately.
right.
To be honest with you, I feel like everyone needs to feel more important than the other. Everyone feels that they should be valued more. I think, especially in industry, I think people know that there's lack of skilled labor and skilled anything, you know, in every industry, and they try to hold their employers hostage with it because they know, like, I'm a good employee. I'm not the best employee, but I know I'm better than that guy. So now I can go to my employer and complain a little bit, and then maybe I'll get a raise, or maybe I can negotiate better. And you know, and that's what I truly believe is driving costs to consumers up. And that hedges all the way back to another reason why this charity was started, because you need, just like you need competition in marketing and
everything,
having different companies out there to offer you product.
Yeah.
You need competition in the workforce, because if you don't,
Absolutely.
then people are naming their price, and that's only going to result in prices going up to the end user, which is all of us, and it's a problem.
Well, it's a balance, right?
Yeah.
You always want to have competition as employers, competition of employees.
100%.
Because that allows, first off, the hardest workers,
Yeah.
cream rises to the top.
Yes.
Those who are smart enough, those who have the skills that are best, the best skills, those people rise to the top always. In addition, with those interpersonal skills, the listening skills, the leadership skills, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's what we're not encouraging more, is because we've created a soft lifestyle,
Right.
where you can't compete, or it's not nice to compete.
The norm has become the exceptional.
Correct.
In industry.
Right.
A normal person that can just show up to their job, do the right thing, not ask a lot of questions, not go above and beyond, but just do what they have to do, has become the exceptional, and the exceptional's gone. Where years ago, you'd have, every company had a couple of guys that like can do anything.
Powerhouse.
And they like took pride in the fact of like they wanted to be right.
Yeah.
Like, we need that back. That's what I'm trying to get back.
Well, it's about rebuilding strength.
Yes.
And strength through leadership. And that's why it's funny. We're in the same mission, just in different industries.
Yeah.
For me, it's within government and politics, where people having a backbone, people having a spine, saying it like it is, doing what needs to be done, for the people.
Fulfilling promises.
That's right. Fulfilling promises, making
and
real
not wanting
promises.
to be wrong.
Yeah. No, but I think it's okay to be wrong.
It is, but in my industry, I'm talking like if like our thing was that if you went on a service call and you didn't fix it and someone had to clean up your mess,
Oh, of course.
that's a problem. It's a learning lesson, but it's a problem. And if it happened a lot, then you were the guy that everyone didn't like because
Of course.
who wants to clean up anyone else's mess?
But isn't also the gentleman answer as well is making sure that if he who creates the mess then comes back and makes sure to fix the mess, and if that person had to then find someone else to fix your mess, you come in and then either pay for or cover some of the costs or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's bad actors out there that customers would then like to say, "Oh, you messed it up when you really didn't."
Well, no, not where a customer would even know. Say, just for like an example, like with us was if you went to Mrs. Smith's house and her heat wasn't working, and you went there and you left and the heat was working, and then the next day we call a callback.
Yeah.
So you didn't fix it right. It didn't cause any damage, but
Okay.
now someone has to go back and fix it the right way.
Well, of course, yes.
Because you didn't take the extra time to really delve in and troubleshoot and whatever else. That's
for sure.
That's what people pride themselves on not having.
Well, I think it's funny you say
Nowadays, not to cut you off, nowadays it's more like I'll let the next guy worry about it.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm not just saying my industry, I think that's across the board.
That is
Yeah.
a problem. You're right
Yeah.
about that, where it's not taking the time and putting in the effort for the project that you're handling. I remember as an attorney when I was on trial, and in advance of trial, it's all about preparation and really taking the time to be thorough.
Right.
Every little detail focusing on and making sure every different direction that this trial may go, you have covered. It takes a lot of time and effort and dedication. But by doing that, that's where you succeed the greatest.
Right.
Because at the end, you're prepared every single avenue to what to happen.
A lot of things have to go right more so than one thing go wrong. It could really cost you in a trial or in any aspect.
In any aspect, it is. So I think with politics, what it is for me, it's about being authentic as a leader, where it's recognizing that what I know and what I don't know, but making sure what I don't know, still talking to the people who do know and coming to an understanding of what needs to be changed and what needs to be fixed to create those solutions.
Right.
And even what I do know is making sure that's corroborated and substantiated by those within the industries as well,
Right.
that it still is today, and I'm not just acting from years ago per se.
Right.
I think too often you have people coming in thinking that they're the omniscient ones, the all-knowing, the
Right.
ones who come in and pretend that they're going to be the ones to fix everything.
Right.
And ultimately what it comes down to is you to fix something, it requires a community and having it where you're working together
Right.
and working as a unified force with a direction.
Now, that actually segues me into something that I was going to probably bring up anyway, but how do you see working with the opposite side of the aisle?
I love it.
As far as now, but now opposed to like how it used to be from when I was told, like early 90s, late 80s. Like,
Yeah, that was the
like
Tip
there
O'Neill.
seems to be like a lot more adversity against each side now, where years ago, like they would argue, but I'm sure they all went to the same country club or dinner, afterwards.
That was the
and
famous-
and kind of hedged their bets and whatever else.
You had Ronald Reagan, who was the Republican president, Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House, who's Democrat.
Right.
Two of them used to always quarrel. They would have their disputes, but at the end of the day,
Right.
they would say which steakhouse we're going to, where do you want
Right.
to go here, which bar we're going to hit up,
Right.
get a drink. At the end of the day, we're still human beings, and we have to work together to find a solution for our country. Why I'm running is to be that next generation to provide a fresh start
Right.
for the people who are voting for me and believing in me.
Right.
Both Republicans, Democrats, Independents. And the beauty is I've already done it in the state assembly.
Right.
I was in the Republican minority in the state legislature, so I was working with Democrats on a multitude of bills, whether it be on veterans, whether it be on law enforcement,
Right.
whether it be on cybersecurity, you name it. I was
Yeah, it has
talking to
be a
Democrats.
agreement. Yeah.
Correct. And you had to have it where it's coming up, hey, these are ideas I've had. Let's work through it. And I didn't care if my name was on it or not. At the end of the day, we were pushing it forward. Because that's why that's why I was in office in the first place. I don't
Right.
come from a political family.
Right.
It's not like Daddy told me to come on in and say,
You
hey,
come from a blue collar family, right?
yeah, my mom was a nurse. My dad worked for a utility company, right?
Yeah.
Gas company. That's it. That's where
Yeah.
we're coming from. This Italian family that worked hard to provide for a great living for my sister and I. And I'm so fortunate to see what it was like to watch my parents work so hard. And for me, I want to do something that I can make an impact to say, hey, if I can do something that makes not only my family's life, but then my friends and neighbors and community members, their lives better. Well, that
Why
builds
not?
something in me, right?
Yeah.
That's a fire inside of me, which is why I'm running.
Right.
I don't care about the title congressman. I don't care about that. I care about making a difference, because at the end of the day, if you're just in Congress and you do nothing, you're useless to me.
Right.
But if you're in Congress, you're making a difference where people could say, hey, that's my guy. I like Mike.
Right.
That's rewarding to me. That's where the fire that burns inside of me, where day after day after day, going back to what we were talking about, that's why I love what I do.
Right.
Because I see the satisfaction. When I was in the state assembly, this was great. I had a voter whose door I knocked on during my campaign, just like I'm doing now, knocking on doors.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
Literally. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, literally. I knocked on 20,000 doors to win my seat in the state assembly personally. That was
Crazy.
all me.
Yeah.
And I ended up being out in the community, and she comes up to me and she goes, I remember you knocked on my door, Mike. And she goes, I just want you to know, this was like several months later after I was in office. And she goes, I want you to know I was satisfied with voting for you. Like, I'm satisfied with voting for you. And I thought that was such an interesting word.
Right.
Satisfied.
Yeah.
That you just feel in your soul like it was worthwhile.
Yeah. No empty promises.
Right, but it was worthwhile for that voter to come out, vote for me. She believed in me, and she saw it. She's like, "Yeah, that's my boy." Like,
Yeah, but now she could say, like, as you go on to bigger and better things, you go, he knocked on my door X amount of years ago, maybe 20, 30 years from now.
You're right.
Remember, I know him. He came to my house personally.
and that's the
Yeah.
beauty, is that people will always be able to talk to me, to call me, to meet
Yeah.
with me. We're gonna do meet and greets, especially. We win this after November. I want to do meet and greets. I want to do town halls. I want to do just bagel shops. You name it. Just talking to people and just having a bagel and cream cheese and just saying what's going on, what's happened with you, and taking 10, 15 minutes with the constituents here and there.
Yeah.
Because I'm not afraid. And even if it's different side of the aisle, hey, I hate how you voted. Great. Tell me why. I'll tell you how I voted and why I did this. And maybe we can come to a middle ground for future.
Yeah.
And vice versa. It's, I love how you voted. And it's like, nice job. Give me a pound. All
Yeah.
right. Awesome. But nevertheless, it's like, what are other issues that are
No,
important?
you need to
here?
be able to have uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah. You
That's-
got to have conversations, period.
Yeah.
And going
Well,
back to
yeah.
what you were asking about with polarization, it's because we're not having those conversations. People are too afraid, too stupid, or too scared for what could happen. And
Right.
at the end of the day, if you have the Democrat side, Republican side, coming together, find solutions for our country, find solutions for Long Island, I'm a happy man.
Awesome.
That's what it's about. This is
Awesome.
great, buddy. I
That was a good-
appreciate
that was a good spot to end on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is
Yeah.
this is really beautiful coming together, and I appreciate this.
Awesome. Yeah.